Welcome, everybody. My name is Robin McNair, and we are so pleased to have you here for this very special night, LitCon number 3. And with us tonight, you're in for a very special experience. And I want to do a little bit of acknowledgements before we begin. We couldn't have made this possible this year in this digital platform without a very important team that I'd like to acknowledge, who are Mr. Jason Crabb, who is our English Language Arts Curriculum Specialist for Santa Ana Unified School District, and John Westmeyer, who is teching our program. He's from Godinez Fundamental High School. We have also Joel Munguia, who is also teching. He's from Century High School. Sabrina Skeels is our Visual and Performing Arts K-12 Curriculum Specialist. And Wendy Turk, who is one of our accompanists, a music educator, and all around amazing support logistic person. We are also very grateful that our superintendent, Mr. Almendarez, is joining us tonight to enjoy this very special event. This event ties into our Boca de Oro Festival, which is going to be happening on March 5th through 7th. We hope that you will come and continue to see these young, amazing artists tonight, continue into that event. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to our host for this evening, Mr. Marcus Omari. I met Marcus the second year of Boca de Oro. And when I saw what he did and how he curated the artists and poets, writers, it was such a beautiful experience. I said, our kids need to have that. And we worked together to create LitCon and build this as a pipeline in our own school district. Marcus is a dedicated poet, writer, and performer. He has been a featured poet on Virtual Flow on TV1. He's authored several poetry chapbooks, and he's contributed poetic vocals for various multi-genre music albums. He lives and works here in Santa Ana and co-directs the annual Boca de Oro Festival with us. And he also coordinates Poetry Out Loud for Orange County. And he has absolutely been an amazing partner for SAUSD. He brings with him very special guests that our students get to experience. And without further ado, please enjoy and welcome our host, Marcus Omari.
And in the pandemic world, I hear nothing. Listen, hey, everybody, let me get these glasses off. I'm in star mode right now because I'm starstruck at the amazing talent that we have in the room. Students from high school, from intermediate, from middle school, from all over Santa Ana Unified School District. This is the second, third year that we've been doing this. The talent continues to be impressive, and it continues to open doors for the next generation behind you. Listen, we have a jam-packed list of first-time writers, second-time, everyone just doing their thing. I don't want to delay it. We have our audience members. This is what I want you to do. I can't see you, but you can see me, right? I want you to go ahead and stretch your neck, right? Take a deep breath. Get ready, relax to be entertained, and enjoy your students, your sons, your daughters, your family, your community members wow you with their own original work and their creations. We are going to be hearing prose, we're going to be hearing poetry, and we're going to see some live digital media, all of it in there. And we'll also be wowed by hearing some poetic performances. So let's get it cracking, shall we? Everybody, let me get some spirit fingers in the room. Where are my competitors at? Look, Joshua, I see you. And I yell, there we go. There we go. Yeah. And this may be the last time you see Robin or Jason do spirit fingers. So I hope someone got a snapshot of that. Again, we're going to go poetry, prose, then media. I want you in this environment, since they can't hear applause and claps, All the other competitors in the room, everyone is in, hold on, there's something I can do in here. Perfect. Everyone who's a panelist in this room who's not in the audience, I'm not going to call your names, but you know who you are. If you are in round 1 and in round 2 and you're not performing, you know where that reaction button is. I want you to hit the reaction button or do like this, a clap, or hit spirit fingers. There you go, Anayeli, right there. When I call some names. In here, we're showing each other love and we're keeping that energy up, right, Emily? Yeah, I see Emily's like ready to rock. All right, so, hey, everybody. Yeah, exactly. Oh, and on that point, Jason, before I go a moment further, my motto and my mantra that I share is we celebrate when it's done, not when it's won. Meaning, for each and every person in this Zoom and in this room, the reason why they have been branded successful, branded champions, and branded winners, regardless of what the scores say, is because they sat down and they created something of their own mind, their own will, and their own creativity. And that is what takes them further in life, not waiting for someone to say, hey, here's first, second, and third place. It's saying, I have an idea. I'm going to create it and I'm going to get it out into the world. So this tonight is not all about the awards. It's really about celebrating everyone who did something here. I see you smiling and laughing in there, Mariela. We'll get to you. It's just, yeah, I see you. All right. So coming up first, poetry. Are my poets ready? All right. Hey, in 9th grade, all freshmen in the house coming with her poetry from Circulos. Give it up for Abiel Ramirez. Spirit fingers, here we go.
I am the light that lights the way. I wonder if darkness could kill light. I hear an evil man counting money. I see a bee getting honey. I want a bird to fly without a say of worse. I am the light that lights the way. I pretend to see the world like a visionary. I feel like I see something to carry. I touch the bench leading up to my ferry. I worry that governments wouldn't care. I cry that the forest just hit their toe on the stairs. I am the light that lights the way. I understand that we can't fix all our problems. I say we need to do something to solve them. I dream that we could do something great. I hope we could stop killing some random snakes for fun. I am the light that lights the way. I see we need to get our head and get bumped. That we should have fixed it. That we should have clicked it. That we should have made it. There to the stairs of impossibilities. I guess it's just you and me. But always remember that, okay? I am the light that lights the way.
Hey! Oh, look at everybody! Woo! Hey, kicking it off. Mr. Ramirez, you'll be hosting this thing in no time with energy and poets like me. You're literally kicking me off stage. Absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm always amazed at what comes out of our students, regardless of grade, regardless of age, and regardless of location of their high school. Everyone's so amazingly talented. Coming up next in poetry, 11th grader from Godinez Fundamental. Give it up for Emily. Live.
Empires rise and fall with the tide of time, pushed by manpower and resources, pulled back by the inability to adapt. I see the country that is mine, controlled by racist, xenophobic, ignorant forces. Yet again, I see that I'm trapped. I rise to my friends' frantic notifications. The morning sun is no longer guided by Helios' chariot of the sun, but with the news of insurrection, a riot, a mob incensed by that one. On my left is the dawn's elephant, ignorant of its crimes. Its caretakers are shrouded in money's green. The red of their uniform is faded with time. They've reversed over 100 environmental regulations, almost unseen. To me, that red now speaks of doom. That bloody tint sullies the house in its white rooms. I know what they think of people like me, foolishly opinionated, amateur, free. I neither fit the white mold nor want to be so ludicrously bold. Those who do fit adorn themselves in eagles, stripes, and stars, while I fear they will start wars. They've nothing to fear, not with support from the starred uniforms they hold so dear. Pillars only stand if they remain newly reinforced. So what good is an America who won't follow her modern children's course? There is no point in tradition when it leads to sedition. And his words, tweeted in red hot hate, they neither discouraged they neither follow tradition nor discourage sedition in the state. For prisons, for-profit prisons must be stopped. Halt expensive healthcare before it kills. The military budget needs to be dropped. Increase the minimum wage so people don't have to work 25/8 for their bills. Invest in social workers, not unnecessary military power and protection. When our Black siblings need not fear for their lives, America will be a step closer to perfection. Give our LGBTQA+, our women, our arts and sciences the support they deserve. Give our educators the funding they need. Only with diversity, the humanities, and knowledge will justice be served. Don't shy away from the horrors of our past. Explain why they are horrors and why such practices cannot last. Save our ecosystems. Save our bees. Don't let into office those who buy support and use destruction to settle their fees. Fully support the tribes upon this stolen land once freely tread. Don't desecrate their burial lands. Address the damages and improve immigration policies instead. Humans are weeds, alive in the rough, the stars of the earth. Changing for the better is our rainbow creed. And one day, we of ethnicity, humans of the same flesh and bones, will see our families, unmarred by war, uncalloused from grief, sitting at the same table, when equality, equity, and justice are not fables. Of this America, I can say, I too, I'm free.
Oh, whoa, Emily. I got one word that you should get used to. Actually, two words: inauguration and laureate. Right? I hear all those, and I caught you. I caught your 25/8 there too. I've been doing poetry a long time. I was like, oh, she bumped up the numbers right there. Well played. Hey, great job, Emily. Moving on next in poetry. Whoo, can't get enough of it. Man, Godinez is represented. Godinez from the middle, another 11th grader. Give it up for Joshua Cruz. Got you, Joshua.
Viva la vida en discreto, Spanish for live life discreetly. A saying my grandmother always used, a saying and lesson so dear to me. Don't let people see who you really are. Don't mingle what shouldn't be mingled with. Viva la vida en discreto. The more private and discreet, the better, she said. Words have a way of traveling, and so do actions. One small mistake, and people will judge. People will then have something to say. When you live life discreetly and privately, and away from all the harm this world brings, and away from those people waiting for that one mistake, then you will be living life discreetly. These words have actually helped me through life. It is true what she says. When you live life away from the gossip, the drama, life seems so peacefully. Sadly, when you state a position or add commentary or even do the smallest thing, people begin to twist it up. Certain things are now said about you. That comment you said is no longer the same as you once said. So, as she always said, don't go where you are not called for. So I will always keep the saying in the back of my head. Viva la vida en discreto.
Thank you so much, Joshua. Talk about the legacy of the word from one passed on down. Hey, remember what I told you? Remember what I told you? People ask me about my writing and what inspires me. I'd say it's a lot like Joshua's inspiration as well. Family and community. The things you hear and you watch around become, you know, the ingredients to amazing poetry, just like you hear. So again, shouts out to Joshua for that. Thank you so much. Oh man, keep the poetry going. 11th grade, Carlos, are you in the house? Give a round of applause from Gonitas Fundamental for Carlos Aguilar. Give it up.
Hi, my poem is called Hope. What is hope? Is it the coin we threw in the fountain when we were youthful and oblivious? Or is it the faith we have for a God that watches silently from above? Whatever hope is, we all follow it like a butterfly looking for its flower paradise. We hope to be rich. We hope to be important. We hope for world peace. We hope for equality. Yes, we hope for a numerous amount of reasons. Having hope is what gives us the will to live. To be without hope is to toss out your humanity. I lost hope for a while. The world turned upside down in the year 2020. We were plagued with a deadly virus, and the inequality present in society showed itself once again. Some cracked under the pressure, and the rope became an escape. People dropped like flies as the numbers of infections grew. Tensions were as high as the clouds I could no longer see in the sky. The death of a black man, George Floyd, set the world in a civil war for equality and justice. Cries of thousands flooded the streets. Cars were set ablaze like night lights in the dark. When the morrow came, police fought back. Petitions filled social media. People united under a common hope that justice would be served. In the end, those that fought were set free. Tireless efforts of thousands whisked away like leaves in a strong breeze. Anger, sorrow, and hate left us imprints on hearts. How can one remain hopeful in dark times? How can one look at the bright side? How can one not feel tremendous pain bottled up inside? How can one be happy? No progress made on the cure for months. No progress made on justice for years. No progress made for equality in decades. Generation Z witnessed the world change as clear as glass. We saw the equality and fear the history books spoke of. We fought for a cause that was right, like our country did against the South not so long ago. And we truly felt the pain of others for the first time. I lost hope in society because of the chaos, but I found hope in a new generation, a generation of change, one of hope. Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you. Man, talk about hope. If you guys haven't caught on, allow me to let you know that the presiding theme this year, I believe, was hope. So you're going to hear a lot of messages that challenge what's being seen, what's being heard, and then translating into saying something. And that's what's amazing about this generation. Now, listen, the old heads may complain, but one thing that may bother them, that is also your truth and your champion, is that if you see something, you say something. This generation already has a legacy of speaking up and speaking their truth. So I'm glad each one of you are going forward in that legacy and sharing your poems and your prose tonight. Thank you so much. Moving forward with our poetry, representing locally from Henniger Elementary. Hey, am I a poet or what? Josh, you see that, Josh? You see that? Wow. Give it up for Cynthia Silva.
Hi, the title of my poem is The Door. So much depends upon that one door that will open once you are ready to go there.
Oh, listen, thank you so much, Cynthia. I can't take credit for this, even though it's famous, but I heard another poet friend of mine who you'll hear from soon. When we're talking about the length of poetry, you know, sometimes hey, I'm going to write a poem, I'm going to perform this poem, and then it's a longer poem. And then some people have a thought and it's like, bang, this is exactly what I want to say. And when someone says something really short and powerful, what's the word that we say? Bars. That's what we say to that right there. Amazing job, Cynthia. I was getting emotional and all of a sudden the poem ended. I was like, oh. So you caught me mid-emotion. Thank you so much for all the emotions you guys are using, feeling, and putting into your work. Hey, let me actually. I wanted to ask, check in with Robin really quick. How are you feeling about the poetry that you've heard? You feeling some feelings as well?
Oh my gosh, I'm fighting back tears. This group of students is just representative of all the hope that we have to look forward, even in the dark times. And I am so inspired. And I'm looking forward them to be my reverse mentors and help me learn and grow. And man, I'm just very inspired. Thanks for letting me share.
There you guys go. Listen, she's just nominated you all to be her mentor, which means that as soon as you get some workshops out, send out the link to her. Make sure you charge enough, so she can be in the audience. You guys make a little money. You already have one audience member, right? Now, sliding into prose, which is the extended thought, the extended metaphor, told in a more narrative format. I am proud and happy to celebrate our prose writers in our community, coming from right up the street, Santa Ana High School, representing for the ninth graders out there. Please, round of applause, spirit finger snaps for Esmeralda Alba.
Lastly, since I was a little boy, I always wanted to fly. One day I decided to build wings out of paper and went outside to the street to test them. I ran and jumped, but I couldn't fly. Kids in my neighborhood would tease me as they saw me test my wings. One time, they went as far as tearing my wings into shreds. But it didn't stop me. It just made me want to achieve it more badly. As I grew, so did my edge. I went from paper to plastic to cardboard to cloth. Eventually, I got my hands on metal. I molded the metal to fit my wings. I sat looking at the blueprint and repeated every measurement and design, correcting the details and making sure I had the right amount of velocity. With the skeleton wings on my back, looking in the mirror, I could see my dream coming true. I took off the skeleton and dressed it in cloth with pasted feathers. I had set the feathers to dry for months, making sure I wouldn't end up like Icarus. I tested the skeleton and it held up the wings. If I ran at a certain velocity off the hill, I would soar into the sky. Positive, I went on my bike and took my wings up to the hill. Placing the wings on my back, I blew my ginger hair out of my face and held onto the holders I made and began to run. As if everything went in slow motion, I leaped. I pulled a string to release the feathers. My feet lifted off, but I immediately found myself on a park bench, laying on my stomach. Ouch, I cried. Laughter roared in my ears. All the boys from my school pointed at me and mocked me flying and falling. I got up and wiped my tears. Rain began pouring as I walked home. I hid the wings under my big yellow jacket. When I got home, my mom rushed me into the house. I walked into my grandma's room. She laid in bed holding something in her hand. I walked over to her as everyone left the room. Weakly, my grandma pulled me closer to her bed. Isaac, don't let no one take your dreams. They are in your head for a reason. Dreams are bigger than the mountains and farther than the stars, my grandma mumbled. But Gran, they think I'm crazy, I sobbed. Let them think you are crazy, but show them that you are insane, she managed to speak. She grabbed my hand and placed her lucky bracelet she always wore to her invention contest. She began coughing. Everyone came back in, and her breathing came to an end. She was the only one who believed in me. Now I was alone. After months, I finally went back to the garage and saw my wings under stacks of cardboard.
I got to freeze. Did it freeze?
Yes, unfortunately, it froze. On the every word.
No, wait, no, she's back.
Secure the wings and began running to get speed. I pulled the strings to open the wings and leap off the hill. For a few seconds, I swear I flew. Then I plunged into a model of Pud. Warm tears fall down my face. I had almost touched the sky. I was so close. My grandma lied to me. This bracelet is nothing but beads on a string. I'll never fly. It's just a dumb dream from a dumb freak. I should have listened to everyone. I am nothing but a failure. My dreams fading into darkness. In the blurriness, I see a white swan gliding through the air, stuck in a loop. I can see it there, at the reach of my hand, but I just need a leap. I need one last leap. I bolt up, grabbing the wings, placing them on my back. I walk up the hill and feel eyes glued on me. I take a shaky deep breath and imagine the swan as I pick up speed. As I leap and open the wings, I see the swan leaping from the ground into the air. I feel the air under my feet, my body floating in the wind. I open my eyes and see the park under me. Shocked, I lose control but steer it back to normal. I soar over the tall trees. I did it! I'm soaring through the sky. I'm insane, I shout. I laugh as I fly over the small pond. I did it! I'm flying. All it took was one last leap. Just one leap of hope. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to have to grab some tissue. Listen, 2 words for you. Ms. Esmeralda Alba. Pixar, DreamWorks, right? What I just heard right there, not only is an amazing short story, but your imagery was so crisp that I was like, I totally see this as like a Disney movie with so much hope and inspiration. So to you and to everyone else, I want you to look at your poetry and I want to look at your prose as not the finality of what you've created, but the beginning of what can continue to go on and further and further. It's in these moments that people write great stories that stay with them all their lives. Thank you so much. Hey, prose, tugging at our heartstrings, one last sleep. Coming up, 10th grade from Godinez Fundamental. Yeah, give it up for Jacqueline Ramirez.
Tick tock. A single droplet falls from the white windowsill. One single dry branch falls off a tree. Eggs in a nest crash upon landing on the white snow, red goo painting it. The gray clouds were lifeless. Oliver invites the crisp bear into his silent apartment. He holds his hands out the window, catching snowflakes before they melt away. A gust of wind sweeps in. Oliver's white shirt and gray sweatpants flutter with bare feet turning red. But Oliver feels numb. His purple hair was slowly losing its color, matching the empty hole punctured in his stomach. Shivers run all over his frail body. But he refuses to move from the window. Oliver stares at the buzzing traffic below and hears the dainty bell chimes from his neighbor's door. He yearns for his to ring. Tick tock. The apartment is dim. A pile of bills and mail stacked up beside him as a taunting reminder. Not like he cares. His heart thumps with despair while his head throbs in pain. He stumbles up, wrapping plastic bags containing his overflowing amount of garbage. After, Oliver throws it into the large garbage containers just outside his apartment. Oliver returns to crisscrossing on his wooden floor, examining the blank streets by the window. A knock presents itself at the front door, but he does not open it. The knock was too harsh. It was only one knock instead of a consecutive 3. It was not his fiance's knock. Tick tock. It had been 7 years. 7 years without kisses. 7 years without hugs. 7 years without having sweet nothings to his ear. Tick tock. It will get better. What a bunch of lies, Oliver thinks. Not when his fiancée has been missing for 7 years. Not when the police have named it a cold case. Not when he could be lying in a ditch, decaying from endless stream of bugs. Tick tock. Oliver shuts his eyes. attempting to recall his image, his timid smile, tidy midnight hair, a worn trench coat, amber eyes that sparkle like stars. Maybe Scott is out there. Oliver had waited for years, and he would wait for an eternity. Oliver would foolishly grip onto the weak red string of hope. Where are you, Scott Sanchez, my beloved fiance? Oliver sighs. He spies a red bird approaching the crushed eggs, most likely the mother. She pecks at her deceased children before protecting them from the cold. Nothing more than a false fantasy. How amusing, how tragic, how cold. Oh well, Oliver was used to the cold.
Was that it? Whoa, haunting. You know, listen. I'm getting Edgar Allan Poe vibes.
Edgar Allan Poe. There you go.
Kind of like, oh my God. And who's the other one that, to date ourselves? Who was the guy? Hitchcock. Alfred Hitchcock vibes right there. Hey, Jacqueline, what a mastery of suspense, and the simplicity of language. I always tell that to the students and young people I work with, which is, hey, sometimes you just want to state it simply so that it can be remembered, and the feeling and emotion will last. And trust me, it lingered. What a great prose, really needling suspense. Amazing. So claps and spirit fingers for Jacqueline. And coming up next, Godinez, fundamental representing Mr. Robert Andrew Argueta.
The fate of Stratostone. Hope is a hot-hardly head honcho. For many, the way in which they ascend depends on events or proceeds in precedence. Aspiration is the spell that slews from side to side of a wizard's wand, willfully yet blissfully invoking the soul of the spellcaster. Rubble rumbles on the ground as the chalk ways on the walkways becomes more prevalent. Mountains and dams, which once stood strong, now crack and crumble due to pressure. The texture of granite mixed with water marks a murky stream which kicks craters and forms a fountain aiming directly towards downtown. Bright red molten magma rose from the ground.
Did the audio clip?
You're muted, Robert.
Huh, I pressed unmute. Okay. The fate of Stratostone. Hope is a hot-hardly head honcho. For many, the way in which they ascend depends on events or proceeds in precedence. Aspiration is a spell that slews from side to side of the wizard's wand, willfully yet blissfully invoking the soul of the spellcaster. Rubble rumbles on the ground as the chalk rays on walkways becomes more prevalent. Mountains and dams, which once stood strong, now crack and crumble due to pressure. The texture of granite mixed with the water marks a murky stream, which kicks craters and forms a fountain aiming directly towards downtown. Bright red molten magma rose from the ground like an enigma. The piping hot rocks fiery towards downtown city of Stratostone, sending the citizens into a perpetual panic frenzy. The perspective of reality seems to be decaying as the faces of the people are portraying nihilism. The lava leaps towards the city, first flaming towards fire around it. Mountain craters creep their way towards the city, swallowing entire monuments of merit in history. The chorus water weaponizes itself to hit the city with tsunami levels of impact. The moose, the lion, and the rhino on point to hit the city with all its might to tear the city to shreds and dim the light of all those who have eyes. All but one.
Hope does not die on the foundation of terror. It is born from it. As the wizard raises their wand, a green-tinted force field surrounds the city. All eyes closed in terror, awaiting their demise, slowly relax as they see clearly now. The lava that was going to scorch them now cools and hardens into rock. The craters that were going to engulf them now halt at the barrier. The porous and polluted water that had the impact of 50 rhinos now gives minerals to the soil while residing in the cracks of the earth. No matter how dire, how daring, how daunting an obstacle is, if you can manifest hope inside of you, there will be no need for closing your eyes in despair. Hope is the railing that will always be there.
Good Lord, Andrew. Whoa. Hey, everybody. Applause, spirit fingers. Bro, that is like epic prose poetry. The alliteration was off the charts. I'm like, is he going for Beowulf here? I mean, could the guy write an entire book in verse? We have a new Shakespeare on the rise right here. I caught all that, and that's what I was like, man, can he do this for an entire prose? Hey, I love how you chose a path, you chose a style and a form, and you stuck with it. To me, it made it absolutely interesting, and I love the twist at the end when you really drove home the point about hope being the railing that's never there, and also you had audio problems, but what it allowed me to do was to hear you say granite twice, which I was like, hey, I was the second time you started, I was like, I'm waiting for him to say granite again. So hey, to the language in the verse and perform, thank you so much. Bringing up next our pros from Santa Ana Valley. Give it up for Jose Miguel Serrano.
Hello.
Jose.
Can you guys hear me? You good? All right. The sky. My uncle's pool has sat unused for over a decade, covered in leaves now, only ever cleaned when someone gets tired of the picture. I used to glide in it on a cheap pool lounger when it was full, sipping on something boxed. But now it's just a dirty pit. Probably nothing but a feline breeding ground too. Poor things used to be revered in Egypt. Now their meals come in cans and they do their business in the saddest corner of someone's house. We were having a barbecue at my uncle's. Cheap cuts of meat on pulpy paper plates. Same as always. My family around the fire talking about something important. I sat on a sun-baked resin chair and tried my best to unwind. I laid back and the sky came into full sight. It was shrouded with midnight blue, the rare pinhole-sized sparkle filling the void. All that covered by a few wispy clouds and made hazy by the glow of city lights. Not much of a sight. I sat there, expectedly disappointed. I chewed on my fatty meat and followed it with a can of cola. I finished my plate of food, then my soda, backwash and all, tossed it on the floor and crushed it with my foot. Egypt, the Sahara, it sounds nice right now. The night sky in all its vivid speckled glory, I thought. A cat, maybe black, leapt across the concrete and climbed behind the fence at the end of the patio. More or less, 2 million trek that land as nomads, always moving, surviving the harsh, barren land. I'd like to try it. I have enough comfort and reserve to pillow suffering, maybe enjoy the journey. You think if cats could compare their past and present, they would off themselves? If I were a cat, I'd take the chips left and wallow in the best place allowed, just as they are. Then again, if I were a cat, I wouldn't think either or at all. Just play with a toy full of catnip.
And the thumbs up. Hey, thank you so much, Jose. Bro, first of all, I gotta watch myself because I could dig into everyone's piece. But really quickly, I love how you extended the details just enough. the pool image in the beginning, beautiful. Talking about the cats in Egypt, the comparison, and then you go into the kind of your uncle's pool in the backyard again, and then you bookended it when you went back to the cats in the Egypt with the ending, right? That's why I was like, man, you gave enough details to set it up, flush your story out, and then bring it back to it with that meaning, and left it with a curiosity and some humor with the catnip. So, man, you guys are listen. What are we talking about here? Mr. Crab, we need to get some funds together to get a short story book published. We'll make
it's in the works. You know, it wasn't mentioned at the beginning of this, but we actually we've got 3 different departments working together on this. We've got the secondary ELA, we have performing arts with Robin, and we also have our after school program with the grant that we wrote, where we have writing workshops after school. And we actually have a little bit of money left over for that grant. We're going to create a book of all of these. If the kids have to give their approval to be a part of the book, but once they give approval, they'll be in our book. And we're also looking into using some of that grant money to get some a little more physical prizes than just the plaques to these kids tonight. So I'm just they didn't know that, but now you do. So we haven't decided what it's going to be yet, but a lot of these kids have actually been attending the after school workshops that are being put on by the after school program. So again, three different departments working together. So well done, everyone.
Ooh, you heard it here first. You all are on the verge of being published authors. What it takes, though, is what you've already done. First, we celebrate when it's done. That's when it's won, because it's done. You got it. Clean it up, submit it, take that next step, and let the chips fall where they may, as Jose said with the cats and the chips. And I remember that reference like that. So yes, you guys are on the verge. Rounding out our pros from Henniger Elementary. I got a lot of love for Henniger. Coming right back to the mic. Give it up for Cynthia Silva.
Reuniting Miguelito. Hey kid, come here, I won't hurt you, screamed Officer Lopez. Miguelito turns around and tries to run away, but either way gets caught. No, grieves Miguelito. Perdón, hijo, pero te tengo que llevar a un lugar seguro, apologized Officer Lopez. Officer Lopez starts to walk to his car, holding Miguelito's hand. He opened the car door and told him to sit in the front passenger seat. Then he sat in the driver's seat. The car started with a loud vroom vroom. Officer Lopez turned on the car and drove off on the road. During the dusty, bumpy drive, Miguelito confessed to Officer Lopez his full name, age, and that he was traveling with his mama to California. He shared that the previous night he lost his mom in the middle of the night while crossing the Rio Grande. Time went by and finally they were at their destination. They both got out of the car and walked to the Immigration Detention Center office. Miguelito moped quietly behind Officer Lopez. Later, Miguelito met a new person. Hi, Mrs. Janice, grinned Officer Lopez. Well, hello there. Who do we have here today? Bleated Mrs. Janice. I think he's an immigrant from Mexico. His name is Miguelito. I'm going to go ahead and do some research on him. I really want to help, betted Officer Lopez. Officer Lopez takes Miguelito to the back where all the immigrant children are in the detention cages. Then he goes on his computer and starts to research. Later, after researching for about a week, the office got a notification notifying them that Miguelito's mom had been found. Miguelito's mom later pulls up that day. ¿En dónde está mi hijo? Cried Mrs. Leticia. Officer Lopez came from the back door, holding Miguelito's hand. Miguelito jumps. Mama! Screamed Miguelito. Mijo! Cheered Mrs. Leticia. After the happy reunion, Mrs. Leticia later filled out some paperwork and left the office with her son. Miguelito's prayers have been answered, and he and his mom started their new life together in California.
Oh, thank you so much, Cynthia, for a powerful prose. Um, I got emotional when I misheard something. When you said that the mother had been found, my heart dropped. I was like, oh, like thinking the worst. So when when she came running up, I was like, oh yes. I was like, oh, you're toying with my emotions in this piece. Um, Absolutely love it. Of course, it's timely and powerful, and I think not only in times like this, but at all times, it's important for us to listen to the words from the young people who see and who hear the stories and how they tell it, and what it means to you. So I thank you for sharing your perspective with your critical and amazingly talented pen. And that wraps up our prose, everyone. Jason, how'd you feel about what you heard from our prose writers, Mr. Crab?
Amazing. You know, I teach English, and I've taught it for 23 years, and so I know a good story, and those were all great stories. So I think you know, you wrote them, but you also you know, someone had to teach you something. So your teachers also deserve a little bit of credit for getting you to where you are. So I just want to thank you all for sharing with us your creations, because and just speaking of that last one, you know, it's real, and we need to hear your voices, and we're hearing your voices. And when you write and you come and do and participate in something like this, it matters. The people watching this, they are going to be affected by listening to your stories. I have personally been affected by listening to your stories. I've read them over and over again, and I just want to let you know, guys, I'm indebted to you for you sharing your life with us. Thank you.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much. And thank you to our audience out there, which is very, very large. So I thank you for everyone that's hanging in there and listening, appreciating and celebrating. We may not be able to see you, but we feel your energy and your vibes and support, and we thank you and we honor that. I believe now it is time for media, correct? We got, okay, media's on cue. All right. I'm like in a physical environment. Usually I can just turn to my right and go, we're good with media. Now I turn to my right and it's, you know, more cats trying to come in the door or something like that. So sliding into our media portion, sharing their work coming from Circulos. It is Jade Sariano and Anna Luviano. I don't have the title of their piece, but that's all right. We'll speak to them for a moment right afterwards. We're going to start with the media, right?
McDonald's present their $1 breakfast deal. A sizzling bacon and egg McMuffin for just $1.
To many, fast or processed food is a pleasure. A quick, inexpensive meal that feels as guilty as it is delicious. But for others, fast food isn't just a craving. It's their only access to food at all. Over the past decade, there has been a decrease in grocery stores in the US in areas aptly called food deserts. Food deserts are geographic areas where residents' access to affordable, healthy food options is practically non-existent, because the next grocery store is more than 10 miles away. Approximately 2.3 million people live in low-income rural areas that are more than 10 miles away from a supermarket. With limited options, many people living in food deserts get meals from fast food restaurants. As a nation, we eat out between 4 and 5 times a week on average, and this number equates to 18.2 meals in an average month eaten outside of home, especially for people living in low-income communities that rely on fast food.
But we have a hunger problem in this country, and we had a hunger problem, quite frankly, even before the pandemic. Now over 50 million of our fellow citizens don't know where their next meal is going to come from. And I think all of us should be ashamed by that fact. We could do so much better, and we need to make this high on the list of priorities. I mean, food is a basic, fundamental human right.
We're in this position, and there are reasons for it. And reasons, if you think about it, it's not complicated. It's nobody's fault. Yep. But diets have changed. Habits have changed. People's lives are busier. You know, parents are working. People don't cook as much. You know, they're using more processed foods, foods in bags, and foods that are quick, and things you can microwave. And people are going out more, and it's more fast food, so they don't know what's in the food. And there are these kids' meals that are so attractive, but you know, the calories just add up, and you know, everything is convenient, but nobody is thinking about, well, what does that convenience cost in terms of calories and sugar intake and on and on and on. And then in rural and urban poor communities, I could go on and on and on. It's no one's fault, but it's true, it's real.
Access to food also has to do with limited access to transportation. Low-income communities are forced to shop among the few aisles of prepackaged foods and processed snacks and sugary beverages at whatever storefronts are within walking distance. It may seem affordable at first, but it's no way to feed growing children who need access to nutritious foods daily. And considering healthy food is crucial in development, brain growth, and overall health, it is important that these foods are accessible to these communities. Communities need to call for action, though.
And with health and the way we eat also affecting our minorities first. You see a lot more high calorie food in these areas where minorities tend to live the most. When you go into the more affluent or less diverse populations in anywhere really in the country, you'll see a lot less fast food options. One of the main issues is advocacy from the people in these areas. I think the next biggest issue would probably be just being overall more health aware. You gotta include cultural factors, or cultural factors are very important, right? If we take Hispanics per se, that tend to always be at the top of these numbers in terms of obesity and diabetes and all these other health issues. We love our food. We love to eat. We love the high caloric item. But even then, I would say we don't need to necessarily step away from what makes our culture so rich. Sometimes it's just about being mindful, and it comes right back around to that whole idea of being health literate.
I went to a food market in my neighborhood, only to find 2 expensive food stands in the midst of fast food stands. I was surrounded by shops and fast food restaurants with the expectation to find more healthy fruit and vegetable stands. I just found 2 fruit stands, and the rest were mostly junk food. So that tells us something.
In response to food deserts, we call on Congress and the President to make restorative efforts. We propose the Food Deserts Act of 2017, which designates federal grants to states to support the establishment and ownership of grocery stores in underserved communities. This bill will ensure federal loans to grocery stores providing affordable, fresh, and healthy foods to communities that have an established lack of it, or with only one staple place in said community. We should not have to depend on volunteer community outreach on its own, but rather encourage our legislators to take immediate direct action to manifest an equitable, safe future.
Hey, give it up. That was food deserts. And we're back to have our chat with our artists. Ladies and gentlemen, students of SAUSD, Spirit Fingers, Snaps, and round of applause for our creators of Food Deserts, Anna and Jade. I have just a very simple question for you all. This is a topic that I've heard a little bit about, but it's not top of mind. A lot of people don't know much about it. So for the both of you, what made you think about this topic and why did you feel it was important to share like this?
Well, Anna and I wanted to create a multimedia video where we dive deep into like marginalized communities within the US. And we talked about topics and we chose food deserts.
We wanted to showcase a video where people can see and choose to advocate for their community as well. And hopefully it impacted a lot of you guys as well.
I think it did. I mean, if there's a truer representation of when arts meets advocacy, this is it. So thank you so much for your media presentation. Again, for Anna and Jade, thank you. Coming up next in our media from Godinez Fundamental, from Ms. Mariela Rodriguez, I believe it's called Days of Hope.
Day 308. Just like the other 307, you wake up, make breakfast, get ready, go to school, eat dinner, do homework. And it's just a cycle of that every single day. But there are those days when you wake up. Lush fields of flowers surround you. Birds chirp their morning song. You know, mija, you can go places I was never able to. I'm there. A place I never thought I'd be. A place I've always wanted to be. My dreams within my reach. Keep going. I mean, it's possible. You're there.
What is going on, single teardrop? Wow. Come on, cinematography awards already in the on their way. Make room on the shelves, students, please. Now we have a moment to chat with Mariela. Mariela, are you there, right?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Perfect. Hey, there's a moment in there with vivid imagery like that. You provide so much for your audience to go, that speaks to me, that speaks to me. Oh, I see that. And for me, so for some reason, it was the shadow on the fence. With that right there. Yeah, that did it, right? So tell us a little bit about, of course, what the media was about. And then also, my question would be, what prompted you to choose certain images? Like,
Well, as soon as I heard that the theme was hope, I thought it was like ironic to me because that's something that I've been lacking personally these past how many months that we've been in quarantine. So I like decided, I was like, well, I'll just choose that theme and shine the light on the mundane everyday schedule that I've been having and probably a lot of you guys have been having as well, and contrast that to the days of hope, hence the name of the media. And with the scenery, I chose that to reflect how my hope looks like, which is like, to me, like traveling to places, which is why I referred to something that my dad told me where he's like, you can go places. So that's how I decided to portray my hope. So yeah.
Thank you. Hey, yeah, I know someone who was watching and paying attention. Sabrina, how'd you feel seeing those media pieces? Sabrina, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm good. I thought it was great. I definitely felt very connected to that piece because there's a lot of, cinematography, and there was a lot of, just amazing imagery that substituted that to or added to that. So, very well done, Ariella.
Exactly, and that's exactly what I was saying. When you guys are doing these films and these medias, every image that you choose means so much. You don't want to overthink it, but yeah, there's always something that really speaks to someone else's heart. So thank you so much, Mariella, and thank you everyone else. Hey, everybody. We're at that part where we're going to take a quick intermission so we can reset, get our second round of poetry, prose, and media people all set. But before we take a quick break, I want to acknowledge really quickly that in the room, we have two of the three judges who judged everyone this evening. The judges. We have Ms. Danielle Mitchell is in the house tonight. I can't see you on the screen, but I know Danielle's there. You can just wave your hand, right? Are you judge two, Danielle? Is that who you are? Somewhere in there. There you go. And then
you want me to talk? Hi, yes, I'm judging.
Hey.
Hello.
Hi. And then we also have Mr. Charles E. Scott III, also known as Philosophy. Philosophy in your building somewhere?
He's there.
Right there we go. Hey, everyone, these two amazing judges took out their time. They looked at all the prose, all the poetry, all the media, were moved, had to dry their tears, and then do the difficult job of assigning scores to everything. I wanted you to meet them and see them because they've been here watching you all live. Hang in there because in just a few minutes when we come back, you're going to hear from them literally as they share their personal poetry, prose, their creative work. They want to join in and celebrate you by sharing their personal work. So you're going to hear not only from our judges in terms of what the determining scores were, but you're going to hear them share their creative writing so that you also can say, okay, or hey, heck of a job. So I just wanted to acknowledge our judges and also quickly because Mr. Crab had said it, where'd it go? Where'd it go? Oh, there it is right there. To our teachers, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention the teachers. We have Deborah Park, Susan Pruden, Mr. Medina, Miss Lunt, Miss Bruno, Mr. Medina again, Mr. Bartholio. Yeah, and that was the teachers who really hooked up all the students at the beginning. So we celebrate our teachers for helping get all our students prepared for that. At this particular time, we are going to take 5 minutes. We're going to show you some information about the Boca de Oro festival that's coming up. If you need to stretch, stretch. If you need to stand up, stand up. If you need to drink some water, drink some water. But listen and watch the things that are on your screen. In about 5 minutes, we're going to kick off with second round. All right?
Boca de Oro Festival streaming virtually from Santa Ana, California features arts activities for all ages. The festival showcases student artwork and fun interactive art making for the whole family. Sign on to see amazing local and national artists and muralists, spoken word artists, and authors share their passion and process for literature and the arts. Visit the bocadeoro.org website for online registration information for this free family literary arts event coming March 5th through 7th.
Hey, it was amazing. LitCon is coming back to Boca de Oro for the third straight year, March 6th. LitCon is our annual SAUSD literary competition featuring student performances in 3 categories: original prose, original poetry, and media. The top competitors in each category will perform live on February 25th for prizes and a chance to perform at Boca de Oro on March 6th for a national audience. Join us for this free family event. Also, make sure to visit bocadeoro.org to find out more information on how to register and to see our LitCon winners on March 6th. Is it back on me? The host has asked you to start your video. Start my video. Start my video. Is it back on me?
Come on, Marcus.
Listen, Marcus.
I was so
Very
moved that
professional.
I was so moved I had to pause my video. So we have everyone's back in there, right? This is not only panelists, but we have our audience there as well, right?
Yes.
All right, perfect. So you guys are just cracking jokes in front of the entire auditorium.
Hey,
of
hey, you know
people.
what? Just to show that we're all human, right?
Wow. I was like,
Gotta
they're
have some
talking like this
fun.
is a private conversation.
No,
Hey,
we're all
everybody.
We're all real, aren't we? Oh, I see it.
I think the host is stopping me from being seen.
I have not done anything. But I tell you what, since
Start
we
your video.
are
Here we go.
there you go.
Yeah. We are back.
Perfect. Let's mute ourselves so we can go into our second round, right? John, we're ready to go. We're there. Audience is there.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. All right. So let me just chat it up a little bit so that everyone can kind of settle back in. I know they may be doing their screens and back up what you just saw. The first video about Boca de Oro was absolutely amazing. Well played. So make sure you all understand that those who will be our winners tonight will also be presenting at Boca de Oro along with a few other select people to really showcase what the arts in Santa Ana is all about from your generation. Again, taking your voice to the next level. The second video made me a little emotional because that's the live version of what we're doing tonight. And I said, wow, you see 82 participants. We usually pack out that auditorium. And I love the fact that not only are we here virtually in this environment, but we did not lose the momentum, the energy, or the enthusiasm engagement. I thank you all for logging on and being here this evening. So snaps and claps. Where are we setting up? Hey, I see the time. I see my student writers. They know what time it is. It's time for some poetry. Yeah, we're gonna start with our high school students with the poetry. Jason's so excited. He was like, whoa. He's raising the roof. He reached back and he brought that forward. And we're raising the roof. Hey, let's keep that roof raised. Poetry from 11th grade from Godinez Fundamental. Yamaleth Silva.
Hello, good evening. My piece is called Utopia. Multiple rays from a golden star land delicately on a place that's far. Hundreds of flowers emit a fresh scent, nothing to have fear for or lament. A location where there is no death, somewhere to escape, hide, and catch my breath. And now the colors are vivid and bright, for in this place I will be all right. No injustice, no pain, no hunger. Somewhere I can go release my anger. The fallen, crispy, honey-colored leaves move along with the cool, gentle breeze. Birds of all sizes and shapes chirping with the voice of a river stream flowing. No one here is better, greater, or worse. Equality in this universe. I know every side of this place, however, we have never met face to face. All is well here, and my folks are merry. Utopia, my sanctuary.
Woohoo! Way to go, Miss Silva there. Hey, peace, meditation, and balance are the words that come to mind when I'm listening to that. Just hearing that piece just made me take a deep breath and go, oh, everything's gonna be all right. And I love the sensory language in there. I could see, hear, smell, and just really feel all the vivid stuff in there. So amazing job. Thank you so much. Also, listen, hey, our classmate coming in here, Godinez is deep. You guys love some poetry over there. That must be Miss Yuri Lara that's hooking you up. Give it up for Godinez, Daniel Sevilla.
For the first time in a long time, I felt the tears roll down my cheek, a steady stream of water, the type that would capture a canvas. And in the place of a loved one's embrace, a blanket was all that guarded against the night. As the warmth of my protector grew damp with the stream, memories swirled around my head, memories flowing back to the thoughts of a child I once knew. To the child who learned to write what he could not speak, to the child who only speaks out against himself, to the child who grew spiteful as the world challenged him, to the child who was too afraid to challenge the world, to the child who hid behind an expression as if it were a shield, to the child who was too weak to keep their shield raised, to the child who learned to hate what he did not understand, to the child who never really understood why he hated, to the child who easily loved the undeserving, to the child who hated the love he felt undeserved, to the child who did everything he loved out of hate, to the child who hated doing everything he loved, to the child who wanted nothing but to know love, to the child who knows nothing of what loving means, to the child who succeeded through being smart, to the child who was too smart to ever truly succeed, to the child who loved to discover how things were, to the child who doesn't know what they really are, and to the child now clutching a damp blanket who cries themselves a river, knowing that, despite that, there's a smile upon his face. To the man who speaks out for others and writes his way forward, to the man who challenges the world as much as the world does him, to the man who holds his shield for others so that they may one day share their face, to the man who writes, who tries to love and understands why it is he loves, to the man who loves what he does and does things for the sake of his love, to the man who shares his love with another and knows that love simply is, to the man who leads now with his heart as much as he does with his brain, to the thing who knows not what they really are, but knows that that is half of the battle, and to the man embracing their warm blanket who drifts off to sleep, knowing that, despite it all, tomorrow always shines.
Hey, amazing job, Daniel. Thank you so much, bro. Man, write, to the child who could write what he could not speak. You got me thinking about how, and Danielle can speak on this because she's so much more learned in these things when she gets this age. How letter writing is such a great prompt and beginning to great creations. The idea of dedications when you're writing, the line being repetitious really drives home your point. And I think it was made remarkably. And I love the turn at the crying the river with the blanket, and then you flipped it into the more positive things. I see you. I hear you, brother. Hey, keeping this poetry party going from Santa Ana Valley, a 12th grader. Give it up for Anayeli Cruz Sanchez, here to share a powerful poem. Give it up for Anayeli Cruz Sanchez.
Before I start, I would like to give a trigger warning because my poem does contain a sensitive topic. So if that does make you uncomfortable, you may tune out for about 3 minutes. Thank you. My name is Anayeli, and this is me. Anayeli entered the world at 9:45 a.m. on October 7, 2003. She was greeted by smiling faces, expanding the family tree. She was destined for a life of bliss, named after a Mexican actress. Anieli lived an adventurous childhood. Invisible wounds, not seen by the naked eye. Anieli hit with constant flashbacks, reminded of her early trauma, robbed of her innocence. Turned her back on the world when the world turned its back on her. Anieli fools the world, but when it comes to her, she cannot. Invisible scars deepen, not seen by the naked eye. Anieli is baptized to cleanse her soul, washing away the sin, reminiscing it was for a purpose, not yang, a voice to others in denial. Anieli's mother always says, "You are a fighter," and that she is. Invisible scars soothing, giving a voice to the voiceless. Anieli fueled with indigenous blood, coursing through her veins. Oaxaca, dear to my parents. Their beautiful language that slips out of their tongue. Nu Sabi, people of the rain. Silence is shushed, now a voice echoes. Taught the life of an immigrant by 4 o'clock in the morning. Dirty boots, ripped sweater, and a sweaty face as the fresh strawberries were picked. Her parents always guiding her into a life they were robbed by the illegal status, saying, "Do better than we did, because we couldn't," implanted into her brain. Life is unpredictable, just like droplets. 2 swords cross, she stands. Thank you.
I was about to clap and the emotions hit my lungs, like literally. Adeyemi, thank you so much for sharing that powerful and amazing piece. Yeah, I literally watered up right there. Quickly, what Anayeli had already asked, she didn't need to, but she had already asked if it was okay if she took a more performative approach to her poem. I say, go for it. She had a vision, not only of what she saw and felt and put that on page, but she had a vision of how she wanted to take it to the next stage in terms of how she wanted to share it. I want to use that as an example, an encouragement to everyone else, that if you want to take your feelings, your emotions, and your art to the next level, you don't have to wait on permission from someone to do that. You know what will work, but now you still want to check in with guidance, so on and so forth. But the way that you performed it and the way that you had seen it in your head, it did only make it powerful. And we trusted you to share something sensitive and powerful like that. And that's amazing. You had a line in there that said voice to the voiceless. And that's exactly what you are, what you were and what you are at this very young age. So thank you so much for sharing that powerful piece. Thank you. Oh, all right. Deep breath in. Let it out. Back into poetry. Another senior from Santa Ana. Oh, wait. Where am I going? I'm going backwards on it. Poetry, actually, from Sierra instead of senior. From Sierra, give it up for Brittany Casanova.
Hi, the name of my poem is My Mother. The woman who stares at the ceiling during the day, hoping that her eyes can start to feel heavy as soon as insomnia cradles her in their arms. She is the same woman who cares for her family. Her skin is lighter than mine, yet I had more advantages because I grew up in America, worrying about missing assignments, while at my age, she was worried about getting to America for me, for my siblings, for my children, for their children, and for their children, and for their children. She will suffer so much just to see her children smile, even if it means carrying the moon on her back. She will climb so many mountains just for me. I am still trying to climb that same mountain. I hope that with her help, I can get there. Her sadness isn't seen very often, but when it is, I am reminded that even the strongest person can fall off the mountain. Her rage feels like the fiery breath of a dragon coming to eat me. Her happiness can light a whole room up. This woman is my mother. The same woman who became a mother so young, yet did such an amazing job. She will work with the stars at night in hopes that everything she does can help her family. I don't know when the time to let go of her hand will come. I just hope it isn't soon, because I am not ready to let go. And I don't know when I will be. Thank you.
Oh my God. Brittany, listen, y'all got Mr. Omari over here feeling it. I'm all in my feelings from your powerful words and your truth. And that's what I wrote down. I said, you are channeling so much power. I talked to my, well, I'm getting emotional. Let me take my deep breath. When I talk and get back on my thing. So when I talk to my kids and my students, I let them know all the time how in the position of being a writer, this is for everyone listening and in there, that you all are messengers. You all are vessels. That your story and the stories of others are what you're carrying forward. And I want to let you know, Brittany, and everyone else in the room, that you are doing an amazing job carrying forth your story and the stories of your ancestors and your family. When you get up in the morning and you take on the challenge of whatever that day is ahead of you, I want you to know that you meet that head on and you do them justice and you make them proud and you make everybody around you proud for you doing what you've been put here to do, which is speak your truth, give voice to the voiceless, and be that vessel of power. So thank you so much. Woo! I believe we do have more poetry coming up, man. This poetry section, you guys are really going at it. 10th grade from Circulos, Nora Santoyo Lopez. Nora, you in the house?
Yes.
All right, give it up for Nora.
From dirt into a flower, coming from the bottom of the earth, coming from the hearts of the incomplete, feeling lost, not knowing where to grow, while others already had their roots grown out. I still wonder if they also suffocate in dry dirt. No No air to breathe, no air to hold, no way to grow. Feeling stuck, unavailable to get out, looking for a way to go. Comparing our stop tears. However, roots remind me daily that flowers. Oh, I'm sorry. I messed up. Could I start all over?
Nora, right now you'd be hearing a lot of snaps and claps in the room everywhere, right? Okay, listen. Do this, right? Take a deep breath. Right? Let it out and do your thing. Go right ahead. It's all you. It's Nora, it's there you go. It's okay.
You're fine. You're fine.
Can we play her video that she submitted?
I was gonna say I was gonna suggest that we can come back into the end and play that video. Did you want to do that?
Yeah, if Nora wants to do that, I think that would be fair to her.
Heck yeah. So let's do that to give honor and respect to everybody, their voice, and their purpose, and everybody in the room, the panelists. Give me this. Everybody get some snaps and get some claps up. Listen, you guys are digging in tonight, and I love the way that you are supporting one another. And we are going to let Nora get her voice heard. We're going to give some time. We're going to let our tech people find the video, and then we'll probably spin back around to it. But we're going to move forward. There you go. And listen, Nora, you got this. You take these next few moments and we're going to check in with you and we're going to come back to you once we push through a little bit of prose. So we're going to move on. We're going to move on. And I know they know that they're next up there coming through with prose from Godinez Fundamental, second time up. We got a lot of two-timers. Emily La, you there, Emily?
Yes, sir. Please hold a moment while I pull it up. I was expecting a bit of time.
Sure, I know. So yeah, so let me chat while Emily does her thing. One thing that came to mind, I got to get on my James Baldwin high horse really quick. And if you don't know about James Baldwin, get into it. One thing James Baldwin said is about our lived experience, and he talked about the integrity of an artist. And you all are all artists right now. And he spoke of how we are able to take our experiences, the happy times, the sad times, the pain, some of the trauma, and a lot of the triumph, and put that into our creativity. And that's what we're here to do as artists, is make it so that our experiences are something that others can build off of, and our mistakes are something that others won't repeat. So again, you guys are messengers, amazing messengers. And right now we're gonna go back to Emily to hear her message. Give it up for Emily Line.
Thank you. And this is titled, And Hope Was There. Hope is the smell of petrichor. With a sigh from the clouds, rain falls and stops. Cool, calm, and crisp, the air regains its clarity. No more is the barren ground covered in just ash and char. For with the smell of rain comes the green of trees. And isn't it amazing how the earth can be scorched and yet remain alive? Hope may not be smooth, fluffy, or soft. Hope could be the roughness of cracked, calloused hands pressing trophies of labor into your skin. Hope could also be the unevenness of scars, where skin once bled until it bridged the distance, where healing occurred. Hope could feel like the cold, smooth lines of grass under your hands as you rise once more. Isn't it awe-inspiring how you exist just as you are, equally pushing back at whatever pushes you? By Pandora's standard, perhaps hope should be shaped like a box. Perhaps hope is the shape of a beating heart, for as long as someone lives, hope lives. Perhaps hope is the shape of a rainbow, spanning as far as eye can see, the promise of a world that will not flood. Or perhaps hope has no defined shape. Hope is the shape of your most trusted person's hugs, the hunched figure of a newly growing sunflower, the bookmark just barely staying in a book, but still there. It could be the shape of your pet as it comfortably settles on your shoulders. Or maybe hope's shape is what you make it to be. Because, if anything, hope is something you should be able to make yourself, regardless of what your body is like and what your circumstances are. Isn't it comforting how hope could come from your fingertips and remain in what you've had an impact on? The taste of hope is your favorite candy, making your day better. It is the underlying notes of your coffee, flavored by your choice and hand. Hope could be your parental unit's cooking as you help season while it cooks. Hope is what you choose to like or dislike because you have control over what may bring you happiness and sorrow. Fruit sometimes tastes sour, but you keep eating it for the chance that you happen upon a sweet piece. Maybe your food is burned, but you laugh and say, "Next time, we'll be more careful." Isn't it lovely how even your tongue can tell you something good will happen even if this batch isn't just as good? Hope is the sound of you, whether you ugly cry, noisily laugh, snort, snore, or sneeze. Hope is the sound of what you make. Pots clanging in the kitchen, mistakes in a practice room, a shout as your favorite show comes on. Your voice and the sounds you make will spread through the air. You might get one response, or two, or hundreds. Regardless of why you make noise, you always have a chance for a response. Isn't it encouraging how that can be? Hope is there. You can tell. Thank you.
Yay! Emily, your versatility as a writer is incredible. From poetry to prose, soon to screenplays, and to I don't even know what else is out there, but you have the creativity and the dedication, and I can tell that you're a writer because your background looks a lot like Danielle's. You got all those books back there, so I know you're a reader, so I know you're an incredible writer. So great. Now you want to show off your bookshelf. Great job. Love your writing. Hey, our next prose, I want to say performer, but not really, the writer sharing it tonight from Circulos. Give it up for Valerie Cortez.
The eyes. Most of my family's eye color is dark brown like coffee grounds or dark chocolate. Both of my parents have dark brown eyes, so that gives me the color of my eyes. I didn't really pay much attention to how my eyes looked. I imagined having blue ocean eyes, but I don't. Brown, normal. Though recently, I found out I have dysfunctional eye glands. My heart sank like a roller coaster drop. It felt like someone stole a part of my car so it wouldn't operate anymore. It's engraved in my thoughts and routines. Now I have to be careful with what I touch or remind myself every moment of the day not to get my hand near the unfinished car, which is my eyes. Eye drops fall and splash inside my eye, while it feels like a sting, but a refreshment. My eyes don't look as red anymore. Allergies come back, so I run to my eye drops once again. At night, I cover my eyes with a heating mask. It's hot, but I know it will do well. One day, I forget to do all of those things. I notice a red bump. It's hard and it looks like a lump. It took months, which felt like years where it felt like I was watching the same movie over and over again. I was tired of that red hard bump. Surgery. Early in the morning, the sky was still dark blue, and outside it was cold. I remember the smell of the bread from the bakery next door. A few minutes later, we arrived. Inside it was cold as I lay down on the white sheets. It was time. I saw nothing but pitch black, as if being in the bottom of a well that was covered from the top. I finished. Time flew by so fast, I didn't even notice. I was asleep not knowing what my eyes would look like anymore. My eyelids were huge and puffy. They looked like white puffy clouds or huge marshmallows. It took time to heal. Finally, they were gone, though that was not the end. Why couldn't this process be easy like riding my bike? At this point, I learned that this was permanent. I actually have to live with it for the rest of my life. The same steps had to be taken. Appointments and appointments were made. Waiting in a cold room for hours just to see how my eyes were doing. Eye drops, eye cream, heating mask, flipping eyelid, allergies, all on repeat. I should have appreciated them more before. Learn to appreciate what you have before time makes you appreciate what you had. ZK Albinar.
Hey! Amazing job. Come on, Toni Morrison, the bluest eye in there. Woo! This is what's incredible about being an aged writer or creative is that I go, man, I see and hear the greatness in their voice right now that's been published and pushed out into the world. So no one here is just putting the cables on your back, as they say, or gassing you up. When we tell you that your writing is critical, timely, and important, it is exactly that, because there is evidence and legacy of writers who have written about the exact same thing that you're talking about, who are loved and published the world over. So I want to validate and confirm everything you're feeling and writing. Love that creativity. Thank you so much, Valerie. Our next pros, also representing Circulos, we have a senior. Give it up for Alexis Benitez.
The marimba plays a unique sound that makes the moon dance. I have been followed by the moon all my life. The moon witnessed the day I was born, watched as I took my first steps, and traveled with me to a new land. The moon was my cuna, a cattle of light in the dark of darkness, a reminder of the songs we would sing each September in my hometown of Xelajú. Together we would dance to the sound of the marimba, honoring the moon which sees us for who we are. The moon followed me the day we drove to the airport in Guatemala City and stayed up high in the sky as I arrived to LAX in 6th grade. I envisioned myself being a conquistadora, discovering new cultures and lands like Pedro de Alvarado in the streets of Guatemala, hiking the ruinas of Tikal. In the United States, there is no chapin bread or pilas, but there are plenty of washing machines and rows of homes where people from all different cultures come to dream and discover. The moon of California looked different. It was no longer shining or dancing. It was hidden between a thick layers of smog and blistering sunsets. The moon was not the only thing that was different. I went from being top of my class in Quetzaltenango to memorizing sight words in English language learner class. I spent my entire day watching teachers and friends as they spoke words that I didn't understand, and I felt hopeless. My teacher told me to work twice as hard, so I did. I stayed up late into night, working on homework assignments, looking up every word on dictionary as if I was decoding a secret text, piecing together meaning of words, stringing sentences, a paragraph or a novel. When I was finally able to write, read, and speak on English, I cried tears of joy, knowing that eventually I was going to be okay. I conversed with teachers, wrote essays, and even took classes that I never thought I was going to take. However, the moon never left my side. When I speak, I have a very heavy accent that tells the world that I am from a different land. Sometimes this accent gets in the way when I'm asked to repeat myself for a second time, or where judges ask to if I actually belong. But I have learned that my accent is not a deficient. My accent is my strongest tool, a gift of resilience, a window to my story. Today, my grammar is not perfect. My accent attracts attention, but because of it, I'm able to communicate confidently. I know that my accent is not a barrier, but I choose not to allow my accent to become the barrier. Instead, I use it to compete and speak a message. I use it to navigate the system of English and Spanish for political campaigns like Jonathan Hernandez or Ward 5 in my local city of Santa Ana. My accent challenges me to work twice as hard as my teacher once advised me to. Before speech tournaments, I practice my program and recite tongue twister at least 5 times. Before I speak, I actually practice 30 minutes for my presentation that it's only 3 minutes, so my pronunciation is perfect. Whether it's to volunteer or to talk in my English class, I'm constantly learning new vocabulary words, sharpening my English skills. My accent is my cuna. the one that has refused to let go of her child, a reminder of my beloved culture, my heritage, and my identity. The moon, it's always there, and it will follow me wherever I go.
Come on, speech and debate. Come on. That is incredible. Listen, I try to jot down notes for everyone. Halfway through, I just literally threw my pen down because you nailed it. Everything. It was your power is in your voice. And this is for everyone in the room. The fact that you had already identified that and put it in the piece and spoke that. Alexis, let me tell you, 10 seconds after you started speaking, I was like, damn, voice is power. She's killing this thing. And when you said something about an accent, I was like, no, don't get rid of that. You know, keep that flavor, keep that culture. Whatever you choose to do it, recognize that your voice is power and that your voice is for the voiceless and that you have a message for everyone. And I share that for everyone in the room as we move forward, because I share this with my students who write poetry and short stories as well. If you have an accent, if you have access to a language that is not the predominant language, you do not leave that language behind. You put that in your art, your poetry, and your creativity. That is what separates you. When you're in high school, I know that there's this push to fit in or to be like others or to rather to not stand out. But all the elders in the room, I'm me not included because I'm not in that category just yet, but all the rest of the elders in the room will tell you that once you get older, it's the things that made you stand out that are the things that you champion most about you, are the things that people gravitate towards you for. So if there's something where you go, man, that seems a little awkward, or, you know, people point that out or blah, blah, let me tell you, post high school or whatever, as you go into it, that is your power and that is your thing that makes you different, and you lean into that. So that's it for my speech. Thank you so much. More from our prose writers in here from Circulos. Again, man, Jaylene's in the house, right? Give it up for Jaylene Quezada.
Becoming a better me. What are insecurities, you ask? There are imperfections that you only pay attention to and are only visible to you. They're only visible to you because it's something that you don't like about yourself. Insecurities are not out of the ordinary because there's other people out there who have that same insecurity. But since society holds us, we have these things called insecurities. People spend so much money on trying to fix their insecurities, whether it's getting some kind of surgery or buying a drink that will help you stay skinny. Honestly, it's such a waste of money to learn how to love yourself. I know this because I've been insecure before, and to some people, it might not seem like I never have because I would always pretend to have confidence, but I was. I still am, but not as much as I was. This is my story and how I passed this milestone in life. I keep looking at myself in the mirror, feeling bad for myself. I watch my tears of sadness roll down my cheek and watch it make a splash on my dresser. I imagine my future self holding my hand, telling me it's going to be fine. As I look outside my bedroom window and watch the happy kids play under the soft, pretty sunset, wishing I could go back to my happy, self-loving old self. When I didn't care what I looked like or what people thought of me, when I was comfortable with myself and criticized myself for who I was and what I looked like, I tried to find. Can I start all over?
Where did you mess up? You were flowing just fine. Did you leave out a paragraph? I got notes. Are we froze?
Yeah, I I skipped the paragraph my where I was at.
Do you know where you left off at? Oh, you're on mute right now, Jaylene.
Yeah, I found where it was. Do I start all over from where I was?
I'm just right. You were doing good, and then there was a pause. Go take it from the top if you need to take it from the top. Go ahead.
Okay. Becoming a better me. What are insecurities, you ask? There are imperfections that you only pay attention to and are only visible to you. They're only visible to you because it's something you don't like about yourself. Insecurities are not out of the ordinary because there's other people out there who have that same insecurity. Since society holds a standard to what people should look like, we have these things called insecurities. People spend so much money on trying to fix their insecurities, whether it's getting some kind of surgery or buying a drink that will help you stay skinny. Honestly, it's such a waste of money. You have to learn how to love yourself. I know this because I've been insecure before, and to you it might not seem like I have before because I would always pretend to have confidence, but I was. I still am, but not as a. This is my story and how I passed this milestone in life. I keep looking at myself in the mirror, feeling bad for myself. I watch my tears of sadness roll down my cheek and watch it make a splash on my dresser. I imagine my future self holding my hand, telling me it's going to be fine, as I look outside my bedroom window and watch the happy kids play under the stars. Wishing I could go back to my self-loving old self when I didn't care what I looked like or what people thought of me, when I was comfortable with myself and wouldn't criticize myself for who I was and what I looked like. I tried to find the pictures my mom was going on, but then I hear her worries and I take a step back to not give her another worry. I then realize that I could tell. So I wipe my tears and tell myself to be strong and just keep it inside and not let it out. And act like everything's fine, even though I'm hurting and want to cry myself to sleep. Just to wake up and do it all over again. I feel like I have no breaks. The pain just gets worse, and I eventually fall into a very deep, deep, dark hole. My friends would ask me every day if I was okay and if I needed someone to talk to, but I would always turn down the offer and just say I'm fine. One day, I had a really bad breakdown, and it got to the point where I just really needed someone to talk to. I somehow built the courage to tell my family what's going on. My family just proceeds to tell me that I'm acting like the victim and that I'm using it as an excuse when I'm really not and just want some. It went on for months until I decided to do something myself about the problem. I worked hard on improving myself physically and mentally. Since all this happened during quarantine, I didn't have anyone to reach out to, so I felt really lonely. It got hard at times, but I kept pushing. I would wake up every morning. I would push myself a lot at the beginning to the point where it became stressful when it shouldn't have. I realized that resting was good for you too, so I stopped stressing myself and did it less, and I still got the same results. I started eating healthy foods and drinking lots of water. It felt good to be healthy, but I felt like I couldn't do it without the support of my mom. So I sat with her and really talked to her about it and how I was feeling. I don't understand me, and I felt even better to have her support. Although my journey hasn't been easy and is still going on, I push myself to be a better person every day. Becoming healthy benefited in so many ways, especially mentally, because I didn't like the way I looked. And I feel like that had to do with the fact that I was so upset with the world. As my mentality improved, I also lost people in life. Some people removed themselves from me because they didn't like to see me become a better person, and others I removed because they were stopping me from becoming a better person. Now I picture myself holding my past self's hand, telling me it's going to be fine, and that at the end of the day, it's you against the world, and there's light at the end of the tunnel.
Great job, Jaylene. Amazing job. Um, I would in the beginning, I love the whole thing about insecurities, and yes, loving yourself is cheaper. Uh, loving yourself is a lot cheaper. And the idea of the tears splashing in the dresser and how you came back around. Again, the message that you share in your prose is one of a personal narrative that speaks to so much of what everyone's going through right now in quarantine time. So I validate, confirm, and encourage you all to continue to write, to get your feelings out. Because what you may feel are just your feelings that you feel that you're expressing right there on the page. There's someone else out there who, when they hear, or should they ever hear you read that poem or their prose, they'll go, I was just thinking about that, or I was feeling like that too. And then your message of creativity becomes that bridge to take that person to the next day, to the next week, and out of high school, all that good stuff. So continue to push your messages forward. Thank you so much. We're going to circle back a little bit before we slide into the media, because I have word that Miss Nora Lopez is back on deck, correct? Yo, everybody, give it up for the poetry of Nora Centoyo Lopez.
Dirt into a flower, coming from the bottom of the earth, coming from the hearts of the incomplete, feeling lost, not knowing where to grow. While others already had their roots grown out, I wonder if they also suffocate in dry dirt. Nowhere to breathe, nowhere to hold, no way to grow, feeling stuck, unavailable to get out, looking for a way to go. Roots remind me daily that flowers grow, comparing my stem to theirs, believing I should be in a beautiful garden, not stuck in dry dirt. Yet I am nowhere near where I need to be, comparing my environment to theirs, just questioning to be enough to make it there, doubting and fear, seeing the impossible never possible, while I stood there feeling hopeless, hoping to drain my own thirst, looking up at the sky, thinking how others would get a hose with daily water and a smiling face, yet glazed at the sun, shining bright, no clouds in sight, feeling like nothing, while wanting to be something. My thoughts fill my mind, my doubt continues. So I heard, doubt kills more dreams than failure ever will. As I thought, if I were to be a beautiful rose in a marvelous garden, would I finally be happy, or will I have an empty pit inside? Will it be enough, or will I still be wondering? To fit in and have everything I imagine fill my void. As time passes by, maybe my environment isn't my true trouble. Maybe my mindset is the true problem. I am lucky enough to have the sunshine every day and the honor of every single water drop received. I'm just another stem with my roots coming out from the bottom of the earth, learning about myself and my environment around me. Growing as a flower who adapted being in dry dirt, the more I daydream, I wasn't magically going to appear in a beautiful garden. I had to face my reality in my dirt, my home, where my seeds start to sprout. This is where I landed, and this is where I was chosen to grow. I started to stretch my roots and get as much water as I could. I'd stood there and still continued to hope for rain. When I stopped focusing on what I didn't have, the more I noticed what I did have. I had plenty of space to grow, stretching my stem and started growing, realizing I wasn't meant to be a rose, but my own flower. The hope in my leaves are as brightest as can be because accepting who you are will become your biggest dream. Now I hope you find your beauty in your dry dirt.
Hey, give it up for Nora. Listen, let's talk about that. Let's talk about taking our eyes and minds off of the people and things in this world that have been presented to us as roses that may keep us from being the flowers that we're supposed to be, man, where we're planted, where we're growing, the soil that we're growing in. Nora, the notes I had written down, first of all, I love the roots line. But one thing I wrote down is this is not easy, right? I'm going to go there and then I'm going to come back. Saying for you and for every other person before we round into this media, I want you all to understand this, that what you're doing is not easy. If it was easy, we would have had hundreds of people write and submit in here. That's why you all are special. And that's why you all are chosen. And you're special and chosen because you chose yourself first. You said, I'm worthy of writing this. I'm worthy of sharing this. I have a message that wants to be shared. So I champion you for writing it, submitting it, and then circling back and then sharing it live. Everything. It's a message. Thank you so much. We have, listen, if there's someone in the chat, you guys got to handle that chat for me because y'all know I'm in the middle of hosting. If there's a question, just jump in there and let me know. Or we'll get to it later. Later? Okay, cool. Media at this particular time. Our filmmakers out there. Senior from Godinez Fundamental, Paula Ramos. Forgive me for not having the title right in front of me, but we'll get the title right after we see the media and we'll talk to Paula. Thank you so much. Let's roll into it.
With an ongoing rise in COVID cases, vaccination sites are now open in OC for residents 65 and older. Santa Ana currently has the most COVID cases in Orange County, as 1 out of 15 people is testing positive.
By answering a few questions to determine eligibility, Orange County residents over the age of 65 are able to register for the vaccine through the Othina website or app.
Vaccine supplies are limited and will be distributed in phases. As we are currently in Phase 1A, only those at high risk and of the age of 65 or older can currently receive the vaccine. Vaccination sites include Disneyland, Sophie University, and some senior centers.
Although COVID cases are rising, there is hope due to this vaccine. Remember to stay safe and follow CDC guidelines. For GNN, this is Paula Ramos,
Karen Rivas,
and Diego Sarmiento.
Hey, shout out to the timely. What am I doing? Spotlighted your video for everyone. Can I unmute myself? What's going on? There's technical things going on right
I can hear you. I see you and Paola.
Well, perfect. Good. So let's get down to our interview, Paola, for this COVID informational, very wonderfully done and so timely for I and so many others who are waiting on their vaccine. So clearly we're in the middle of a pandemic. So that's why it was on your mind. But why did you want to do this film, this video, and why did you feel like it was necessary to be shared?
Well, I think considering Santa Ana has the highest number of COVID cases in Orange County, my group and I thought it was important to share information we know about the distribution of the vaccine. We wanted to spread information and use the research that we had to create a video and in a way also help us stay in touch with our community. I think that in these trying times, a sense of unity within our community is an aspect that makes all of us feel hopeful.
Heck yeah, give it up for Santana. Woo! Listen, and we need people like you out there getting the message out to the people, because sometimes it's about, they say what you know and who you know or anything like that. We need the people in the right places to get the information and be the messengers of that. And so filming may be in your future, but also maybe a little Congress or something like that, somewhere where you're making the rules and then bringing it back to us and saying, hey, this is what you need to do. So thank you so much for that media. It means so much, especially the message of information. So thank you, Paula. Next in our media from Henniger Elementary, I believe it's called You. We will hear it from Lauren Santiago.
Where is everyone? How could they do this to me?
one click and I finally know what to do. Hey, just think about it. With one click, will you change? Just know you're not alone. You're not perfect, but you're you.
Never be afraid or ashamed to show your true colors, because no matter what you have as a condition or just who you want to be, just know that someone will always be there for you, even if you don't hear it, see it, or feel it. Someone will always love you for who you are. So you don't have to change who you are just so people can like you for something you're not. And if someone you're close to doesn't like you for who you want to be, don't hate them. You should later thank them, because without their hate, you would never succeed into what you want to be. You just have to be yourself, hope for the best and not the worst. And just know that you're not perfect, but you're you.
Hey, and I'm on, right? Is my mic hot? Perfect. Lauren, welcome. Make sure you unmute yourself too, Lauren, so we can hear you. Come on, message of you, which could also be interpreted as haters gonna hate. So for this particular median, for this LitCon, why did you choose with going for the message of self and upliftment? You.
Well, I chose it because like many people in different places feel like they're not themselves, and that if they are themselves, they won't be loved. And I just wanted to give everyone a message that them themselves matter.
Lauren, I think that came through loud and clear. I was inspired for it. I also laughed and giggled a little bit when I saw you smiling in frame. You know what I'm saying? But hey, we're all like that on camera. And you were like, I'm giggling right now. But I love also, there's an image that stood out of the sunset and the sparkling, either holiday lights, Christmas lights, or little teeny lights in the foreground. So amazing job. You have a great vision for film and cinematography. Keep it going. Round of applause. Spirit fingers for Lauren. Hey, everybody. That rounds out our LitCon. You know what time it is? Time to give out those awards. No, not just yet. What I want to do really quickly is celebrate our judges who are not just judges. Let's throw that out. Celebrate our honored and distinguished guest poets who also served as judges. First, in the room, we have Danielle Mitchell. Danielle is the author of the chapbook Makes the Daughter-in-Law Cry from Tibet Bach. She's the winner of the Clockwise Prize, an alumni of the community of writers at Squaw Valley, and a graduate of the University of Redlands with a dual BA in creative writing and women's and gender studies. Danielle is proud to be the co-founder and director of the Poetry Lab in Southern California, which I know does workshops that allow you to log in, sign in, and be a part of those workshops. Let me also introduce Mr. Charles E. Scott III, also known as Philosophy, who has performed his poetry throughout the country, been a captain of the #4 slam team in the nation, and performed with the world-renowned Saul Williams on the Martyr Luther King spoken word tour, and was in jeopardy of outshining Saul, if I may say. He has illustrated workshops on poetry for the National Association of Music Merchants. He has also been featured on season 4 of finale of TV One's Verses and Flow, and is now the co-director of the annual Pan-African Film Festival spoken word series in Los Angeles. Everybody snaps and spirit fingers for our honored guest judges and poets. We are a little over time, but still their poetry is here in celebration for you. So I wanted them to give them opportunity to just share in the spirit of verse and creativity. Is that all right, people? You good? All right, I will turn it over to Philosophy. You want to rip first?
However you need me, sir.
That's fine. So let me give you this as well. You all may recognize this brim bedazzled gentleman from being your host of LitCon at the festival at Boca de Oro for the last 2 years. Yes, this honored poet, and career writer, not only hosts the festival, but is now here to share his verse. So Philosophy, it's on you.
First off, I want to begin by saying how humble I am to be in this space right now with so many young minds that will be the catalyst to change on the landscape of the world. Thank you for allowing me this time to be with you right now. I feel anchored in amazement from what I've seen. The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. Martin Luther King. 5-year-olds fend for themselves and forge new lives, forced from the arms of their mothers, fathers, sons, stolen at borders, lost, lynched, and war-torn from legs, arms, and ligaments. Led by wrist, wrenched from families' arms, taken from whence they came, at-risk immigrants. Migrants at the margins of society, marginalized on the outskirts, searching for asylum with outstretched hands, while citizens bury their head in the sand and awkwardly watch CNN, barely due process. Mock trials, trying times, crying children, lying behind bars, jail-celled and processed. At the tender age of 10 in racist center, tender age facilities, detention centers facilitate 10-foot fences, children caged and fenced in. Held hostage, sleeping on concrete floors at 4, treating kids as canines. Locked in Luke Cage, lying on floors, inhumane treatment of humans. I'm floored with these deplorable acts. Actually, I might be acting out of turn, but people in Puerto Rico still don't have power. And Flint, Michigan, still on a mission for clean water. I'm just disgusted. Where is the justice for George Floyd in this unjust system of justice not made for us? Or you and I, I'm Alan I, spitting truth to power in the eye of the storm. We weather conditions in America and forecast hate with Muslim bands of bigotry, foreclosing borders, unweathered, conditioned, and tethered. I'm Wakanda forever. I'm Black Panther. I'm Huey P. Newton buying tickets to the Panther Party. I'm John Carlos and Tommy Smith at the Olympics in '68. I'm a black fist on a pedestal, puffy combed and hair picked in the afro of Colin Kaepernick, unwavering 49ers of change, calling downfield for social justice with silent protest, kneeling down on one knee during the national anthem, overstanding whether or not justice will prevail with primitive laws and acts of ignorance. We rather react with no preventative measure. The measure of a man's reaction is not where he stands in comfort and convenience, but where he stands in action. This is America. In times of challenge and consequence, contrary to popular belief, systems, systematically racism exists in contradiction to the latter statement. Black lives matter, matter of fact to our statesmen. Let's converse and Chuck Taylor this conversation. I'll cut to the point, quick killing brown boys and black men, tailor-made with French cuffs, cuff links and handcuffs, measured by the long arm of the law with extensive damage and outstretched hands, Johnny law-abiding citizens, unlawfully detained curbside, John Doe remains, a deer in headlights, Miranda rights, Reddit nights under the body of habeas corpus, laying burnt hands on hot hoods of cop cars in Corpus Christi. Black hoodies don't equate to criminal activity. Let activism be the catalyst to change. Karate kick the world off its axis. with kindness and hold humanity by the throat of respect and keep him accountable and conscious when he breathes hate down the necks of our children. Let's raise better seeds planted in the hopes of dreams that gun violence isn't the answer to any question ever asked in class. Headstrong children raise hands, a scholar, a Black stallion, head of the class, a gentleman of kinsman and honor, wearing the under armor of God and the helmet of salvation. Thank you.
Wow. Whoa. Yay. Floored. Anchored in amazement, I believe, is the phrase not only for the students, also for our guest poets. Thank you so much, Mr. Philosophy, for sharing.
Man. I feel like I'm leaving here a changed man.
Listen,
for the things that I've seen today.
And what you said, and also with Danielle coming up, is I want you all to understand that their presence and their presence here is in support of your message, and seeing what you're doing and what you're writing being something that they were at, and them saying, hey, I want to give them all what I have, not only to support you in terms of judging, but to share their verse with you as well. That being the measure in the moment, I now turn it over to Danielle Mitchell to share with you a little bit of her writing.
Thank you, Philosophy. Wow. So I'm getting a little anxious having the word judge like on my box all night long, because I really feel there's fraught with the word judge, right? Because I really feel like we're collaborators, all of us. And so I want to just quick shout out to all the teachers, but all the students who I really feel like tonight I am an artist amongst artists, and it's such a great feeling. And I hope you don't see us as judges. We are artists too. And now I have to perform after that. So I am with you.
I love you.
I'm with you. This is called The Disappearing Princesses. The princesses disappeared before they even arrived in international waters, on the streets of London, Rome, hunted, snatched, swallowed back into their captivity. It is believed the princesses are drugged and dazed under male guardianship, meal plans. Some say strapped to a bed and lucky. The princesses are lucky they get to be rare gems, kept behind glass like medieval love poems, touched gently with gloved hands, the slight dirge of the needle, the gold leaf. The princesses are busy making the petty blessings of their bodies into myths for other princesses who dare to dream of escape. The princesses are hidden in desert beacons, or the princesses are the desert beacons. You see how easy it is to get confused. The princesses are traded for technology, weapons. The princesses dug up by the barrel. Instead of God, princesses swallowed into the busy work-a-day rush. People have lost sight of their princesses, one report says. But don't worry about the princesses. They are sleepy anyway, dropping at the first sign of trouble. Samsa exists in stasis, says her sister, who is also a princess, but what does she know? Princesses need their beauty rest. Under white linens, blood-red petals weeping onto unused feet, the little pitter-pat of an IV drip. Surely the princesses are visited by other princesses who love them, but can't remember their names. We call this princess sixth wife, and this one third daughter. Look, but the princesses are in another castle. Here come the princesses with princesses growing inside them. It's not magic, it's bees, drugged and dazed for their honey. See the parade of princesses, reeking of sugar and formaldehyde, peeling off their eyelashes, bobby pins. One princess erases another princess from a PowerPoint. Another princess shines a light into the broken vowel of her mother tongue. One princess dreams a different princess makes it to the embassy. But the truth is, the disappearing princesses disappeared before we could ask them the affliction of their species. Or, it has been said, they simply whispered, erase me, over and over, clicking their ruby slippers, dreaming of no place like home.
Wow.
Amen. Tabernacle.
Listen, let me say something. First of all, while I'm saying this about both of you judges, no, just kidding. Both of you phenomenal writers, do me a favor. Please put either your website, your personal website, or a link to the Poetry Lab, something that one of our panel tech people can copy and hopefully post to the general audience so that they all know where to find you, support you, and be a part of it. Danielle, really quickly, tell us a little bit about the Poetry Lab and how that may be something available to the youth.
Absolutely. The Poetry Lab is a place in your community to write, read, and collaborate. It's that simple. We offer workshops every month, and upcoming in the month, we don't have a date yet, but it'll be at the end of April or May. We're going to have, beginning of May, we're going to have a special youth-only workshop at the Poetry Lab. All of our spaces are virtual right now. They are inclusive, and it's cheap because on purpose, because we're artists. And so we want to keep that space accessible, but we have visiting artists coming in who are literally people who are published in the books behind me. So it's a professional space for writers to develop and grow, but it's also an accessible one.
Wonderful. And we're going to take that information about Danielle and the Poetry Lab, and we'll find a way to get it pushed out to the participants so that you all can participate and be a part of it. Because yeah, you see all those books behind her. That woman is well-read and well-schooled in the art of literature and writing, and also in the craft of performance. Talking about the craft of performance, philosophy, do you get out into the community, or is there a way that people can get in contact with you so that you can help them out and to do what you do?
Yeah, I do. I'm part of a group called Never Speaks Long Beach, and we do like a lot of virtual open mics. And through that, we kind of like, I don't know, we really, it's not a workshop per se, but what you can do is you come, you express yourself, and we'll break down the whole poem. And I'll go line by line if I have to, because people need to be heard. And I think in this time of pandemic, we're so used to being enclosed that all of that expression is just built up. So when you're in a virtual space and you're able to share, you never know where the healing can come from and who is under the sound of your voice that needs that healing. So I do the virtual open mics. You can find me at philosophypoetry.com, email me. And if there's anything that I can do to progress your career forward, it is exactly what I am going to do.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Everybody, as you just heard, Danielle can help you craft the poem. Philosophy will give you a space to perform your poem. Put them both together. Thank you so much for being supporters. I have one more thing before we give away the words. I'd be remiss if I did not say this. For Mike, the poet Sonkson, who was your third poet. Mike is a third-generation Los Angeles native, a poet and professor at UCLA. He has written the book Letters to My City. He's been published by Writ Large, and his poetry has been featured on public radio, KCRW, KPCC, KPFK, and TV programs like Spectrum News. Sonkson taught high school for 5 years and now teaches at Woodbury University. Mike sent me something. He emailed it to me and said, could you please read this since I can't be there? So before we give away the awards, here's my last thing from Mike. To all the writers who participated in today's event, you are all winners. Reading your words really inspired me, and your thoughtfulness comes across loud and clear. The time you took to tell your story was time well spent towards your personal growth and self-development. The act of writing accomplishes purposes through one singular action. As you communicate your deepest concerns and your hard-earned conclusions, you heal yourself and others through the process. I salute you for all that you're doing, all the inner work that you're doing, and embracing the world head on. Congratulations to you all, and here's to your bright futures. That is from Mike the Poet. And with that, I turn it over to Mr. Jason Crabb for our awards.
All right. So, you know, that last judge actually said everything I was going to say. So regarding everything you guys just, you know, that you've done tonight. So I'm going to let that stand, and I'm going to explain to you how these, you know, what you're going to receive when you get a first, second, or third place position in each category. Each first, second, and third place winner will receive a name on a plaque that will go outside. It's a perpetual plaque, so we add to it every year. It's going to go and hang outside of the boardroom at the district office. And so if you ever come to a board meeting, you'll see your name on a plaque. And so also you'll get a medal that you can wear around your neck, or you can put it up on your wall, whatever you want to do, but it'll say first, second, or third place, whatever you receive. And then thirdly, like I told you earlier, we are going to find a way to use some of the funds that we received for the grant that we wrote for the after school program, for the workshops that we've been running after school that many of you attended. And we're going to put together the anthology of all of your work, and also give prizes to the winners tonight, other than just the medals. And so what those will be we're going to have to look in our catalog and see what we can give you. But that's for a future time. So I'm going to get to the awards, and I know you've been waiting a long time. So without further ado, we're going to start with the intermediate school poetry. Second place is from 8th grade Henninger, Cynthia Silva. Her teacher is Genevieve Lunt, and she wrote The Door. So congratulations to Cynthia for second place for poetry. Congratulations, well done. And I wish I had a medal to put around your neck, but we will get that to you. And we haven't figured out how we're going to do that. That's difficult with the distance learning that we've got going on. And but we will find a way, and we'll get it to you before the end of the school year, at least. So
it's a metaphorical medal.
Well, for now, you'll get the physical medal, and your name will be on that plaque. So thank you. And then so now first place for intermediate poetry in the 8th grade from Sierra Middle School is Brittany Casanova, and her teacher is Mrs. Harari, and she wrote the poem My Mother. And so congratulations, Brittany, for first place. We are very proud of you and all intermediate poetry entries. So well done. And now to high school poetry. In third place, from 12th grade, Godinez Fundamental High School, Daniel Sevilla, whose teacher is Yuri Lara. And Daniel wrote When Tomorrow Comes. Congratulations. Third place, you've got your medal and your name on the plaque. And then we also have, for second place, high school poetry in the 11th grade from Godinez Fundamental High School, Yamaleth Silva, whose teacher is Joel Medina. And she wrote the poem Utopia. Congratulations to Yamaleth. Thank you very much. And then it's interesting, the judges, the way they score is they score with points. And so there's a, you know, we actually have a rubric that we follow, and it just so happens that these two contestants or artists, if you will, they received exactly the same score from all three judges. I mean, so it's crazy, but we have 2 first place winners for high school poetry, and so I'm really excited with that. I mean, hey, why not award more people? It just happened to happen that way. And so instead of dropping someone down, I mean, hey, you both got first place. Let's give it to you, right? And so the first person is from 9th grade, Circulos High School, Abdiel Ramirez, whose teacher is Deborah Park, and Abdiel wrote "The Light That Lights the Way." Congratulations,
Hey.
well done. Awesome to see a freshman win a first place medal. Well done. And
Well played.
and also we have in 12th grade, so freshman to senior. Here we go. From Santa Ana Valley High School is Anayeli Cruz Sanchez, and her teacher was is David Avila, and she wrote "This Is Me." Congratulations, Anayeli. Oh, I'm overcome with emotion. Congratulations, well done. And I think I missed, but Abdiel's teacher was Deborah Park from Circulos. Congratulations, both of you. First place in the high school poetry division. Well done. Names on the plaque and everything.
Amazing.
Yeah, isn't it great? Hey, this is exciting for me. I love it. Okay, going on to the next category. For intermediate prose, we had one first place winner from in 8th grade, Henniger Elementary, Cynthia Silva, whose teacher is Genevieve Lunt, and she wrote and also shared with us Reuniting Miguelito. Yes, so congratulations, Cynthia, well done. And so first place, awesome. And so Cynthia actually entered in 2 categories, fantastic. High school prose, here we go, 3rd place, also a freshman, 9th grade from Circulos High School, Valerie Cortez, whose teacher is Deborah Park, and she wrote The Eyes. Congratulations for 3rd place, well done. And next, high school prose, 2nd place, a senior, 12th grade, Santa Ana Valley High School, Jose Miguel Serrano. His teacher is Mark Bartholio, and he wrote The Sky. Congratulations, 2nd place, and again, name on the plaque. And,
amazing.
Yes, fantastic. And lastly, in this category for high school prose, 1st place, 12th grader from Circulos High School, Alexis Benitez, whose teacher is Deborah Park, and she wrote La Luna. Congratulations, well done. You know, gosh, all of these are so amazing. As everyone has said, everyone is a winner, but in this case, you know, with the rubric and all, these are the winners. So congratulations to the winners. We are going to move now to the media portion. For intermediate media, 1st place, 7th grader from Henninger Elementary, Lauren Santiago, whose teacher is Genevieve Lunt, and she created the piece "You." Congratulations, beautiful piece. Yep, "You." It's wonderful. And then to the high school media, 3rd place, 12th grader from Godinez Fundamental High School, Paola Ramos, whose teacher is Joyce Feuerborn, and she made the COVID informational video. Paola, can you jump in there? And I think, did you say that were there other people that helped you make that? You want to say their names?
Yeah, they were Diego Sarmiento and Jeremy.
All right. So thank you very much. And so that was 3rd place, and 2nd place for high school media from Circulos High School, 11th grade, is Jade Soriano and Anna Luviano. And the teachers are Jay Caldwell and Deborah Park. And their work was food deserts. Congratulations to Jade and to Anna. Congratulations, 2nd place, well done. And then lastly, for 1st place for media, 11th grade, Godinez Fundamental High School, Mariela Rodriguez. Her teachers are Miss Pruden, Mr. Medina, and Miss Laura, all three of them. So, and the media piece was named Days of Hope. So first place, everything was, yours was moving, Mariella. Everyone's pieces were moving tonight, and I want to congratulate not just the winners that I just presented, but I wanted to congratulate everyone. And it's interesting to see all of the kids comment on each other's and support one another. And just as Marcus was kind of sharing earlier, that's who we are. We are supporting one another. That's what all of you have basically said all night. We don't not only need to support each other as artists, but as human beings. And so I'm going to stop right there because I could talk all night about that. And so, but I love you all. I love you, Marcus, for what a great job you've done tonight. Thank you. And thank you all the students. I'm going to let you finish it, Marcus.
So for all of our administrative team, all our tech team in the house, I don't know who could be highlighted or spotlighted. I don't want to go that corny route and go the names unsaid. But I want everyone in the room to understand that there was a team of people throughout Santa Ana Unified School District who came together during work time and in their free time to make sure that you all giving voice to the voiceless had a platform. So if you could all just snap, clap, and show some love and appreciation for those people who are right there in your hallways, in your buildings, or in your district who are saying, no, this is important that this gets done at a time like this. So rounding that off, I don't have too much more to say because it's been said. If you look at my eyes right now, they are watery, they are red. I am emotional. I want you all to look into the Poetry Lab with Danielle. I want you all to look into Never Speak with philosophy, and I want to see and hear your writing out there. And the first place you can go is definitely contacting Mr. Crab and making sure that you get published locally. So, hey everybody, that's it.